Hi, my name is Chris Catron and I've never done anything like this before. I'm a professional ecologist. I'm the director of Caledonian Conservation Ltd. We do ecology surveys of all sorts, and my particular specialisms include birds, reptiles, amphibians and invertebrates. Spiders are my passion. Spiders got me into the natural world when I was a kid, and at the moment we obviously can't travel around doing field work. So what to do? Well, I was chatting to my friend Richard Wilson the other day, and we decided it would be really cool if we were to survey our gardens for spiders. We'll use the same methods, so we do vacuum sampling for 2 minutes. We'll do it at the same time of the week, once a week, so a Friday or a Saturday, and we'll be able to compare our results. And that could be really interesting, and anybody can get involved in this garden spiders survey, if you have a vacuum sampler, I guess. Not to say you can't look at other things. We'll maybe get into that another time. So, what do we need? Well, we need a vacuum sampling net, a tube to put our samples in with 70% isopropanol, which is very dangerous stuff. It will kill the spiders and preserve them, but it's definitely something that you shouldn't leave lying around and you should never drink, because it just takes a teaspoon to kill someone, so careful. My tarantula forceps, which are actually remarkably good for being delicate and picking up tiny things like money spiders without damaging them. A tray to put our samples in. A vacuum sampler itself, so it's just a leaf blower that will stick on suck and put the net on the end, bugvac. And my bugvac is noisy, so I will be wearing ear defenders. So, as always, a lot of flies, but we do have some spiders in here, and also some staphylinid beetles, and all manner of cool things like woodlice and whatnot. It's amazing what you can find just in your garden. Oh, exciting! Clabiona, one of my favourites. So, what have we got? First sample, the garden spider survey. And we got a few spiders. I also took a few beetles because beetles are my second love after arachnids. I'll identify those too, but we'll look at the spiders first as part of this project. Got a few, not too many, but that's not too surprising at this time of year in Scotland. It's a bit chilly. Today is a bit cold, a bit windy, a few showers. I'd expect this to improve as the season goes, and we'll see what we get. It wouldn't surprise me if people further south in, say, England are getting more specimens than I am, and it'll be really interesting to compare our gardens across the United Kingdom in this project. But at this point, I don't really know what we have. We have to take it to the lab. Right, my dudes, welcome to my office and my lab. Because of the current situation, Caledonian Conservation has all of its staff working from home at the moment, including myself. And in order to keep on with the work that we can do still, we've taken home important things such as lucky me gets the GIS mapping computer, gets me called maps for reports. Also my microscope, although I have a microscope at home anyway. But we all do now, at least all our entomology team do. And I've got various specimens to work through for work and also for various projects I've been doing. But right now we're going to look at the spiders that I caught in the garden. So what do we need? Well, books. They're very useful for identifying spiders, and these are my go-to books for spider identification generally. Here we have various essential things. So we have my microscope, which is a Brunel BMZ with a trinoc, and I have a digital camera attached to it because I sometimes like to take pictures that way, and also do training courses where I can beam videos of what I'm doing to people. And moving in, we have other things that are useful. So we have my lighting, which is gooseneck LED lighting, which is very handy. Lighting is as important as the microscope. You can have the best microscope in the world and rubbish lighting and you won't see a thing through it. And this is my dissection kit, which I've had for a long time. And we have various things that we'll find useful. And you'll notice a tuning fork. Now, maybe another time we'll get onto what tuning forks are good for and have some fun. But today we're going to concentrate on identifying spiders. So we'll need forceps of various sorts. And I've got mounted needles and things in case I need to manipulate them. Usually I find it's fine using a combination of types of forceps. And if I need to do dissection, I often find that sharp forceps are fine for taking off an epigyne, so that's the female spider genitals, and having a look on the other side once you get the knack of it without causing massive destruction. So what have we got? I've not identified anything yet, I've only tipped them out of the tube, but I can see that we have a few different kinds of spiders here. So there's the Clubiona I was very excited about. They're sac spiders. They use their silk to bind leaves together to make a sac, and they're really cool, and they can be quite difficult to identify, so you don't necessarily know what you've got until you look at the genitals. This is a male, you can tell from the wee boxing gloves on the ends of his arms. They are his secondary sexual organs. And here we have some Nerienne, which are Linnifidae. They make hammock webs, and again you can see some males here with their boxing glove palps, their secondary sexual organs that they use for mating. And we also have other linniphiids, a range of different ones and all sorts of different sizes. Now, some of these tiny spiders are actually mature. They're just very small species. And linniphiids are really exciting. They can be quite difficult to identify when you first start out. They rely on various small sensory hairs called trichobothria and where they're located in leg spines and whatnot. But when you get your eye in, you can narrow them down quite quickly to genus and sometimes to species. They can be quite distinctive under the microscope with giant spikes and eyes on stalks and big bladed long palps. They're really, really cool. And some of them stridulate as well, so they sing effectively by making noises, by rubbing parts of their body together. So yeah, Linnifidae are awesome. Like I say, known as money spiders. There's about 440 known species of spider in Scotland. About 220 of those are Linnifidae, money spiders, so it's the vast majority. So there's a lot of diversity there. So guys, before I get dug into the proper ID and see what species we have here, there are some other essentials to get me through. So, I need some music to listen to, and unfortunately I don't understand copyright law well enough to let you listen to it too, but if you're interested in my kind of taste in music and whatnot, by all means ask. And also a cup of some fancy tea. I have gone with some loose leaf chai, which is going to be so good. I just wanted to give you a look down the microscope. This is a female Walkenaria, so she's a money spider, a linniphiid, and that is her epigyne. Those are her sexual organs. And so to be able to identify her to species, we need to have a look at a book and compare her genitals with the diagrams there. So we have to look carefully at the genitals of the spider down the microscope. So the female has an epigyne and the male has palps, which are modified secondary sexual organs, and they work like a lock and key. So they're quite specific to species. Male palps are often easier to identify confidently than female epigynes because they can be a bit more variable and similar to other species in some cases, whereas male palps tend to be fairly unique, but they're a lot more complicated and they can be quite difficult to manipulate, particularly when you're just starting out. There's our girl from the top, that's her cephalothorax. You can see her eyes are slightly raised. She's a Walkenaria acuminata, and that's quite distinctive. The males have even more incredibly raised eyes. Maybe we'll find one of them another time. We found a few spiders. Now, some of them were not mature yet, so they couldn't be identified as species. However, we did have a few mature specimens, and in total, I have found 5 species of spider in my garden, which I don't think is too bad going for the time of year in Scotland, up by Alloa. So I'm quite pleased with that. We'll definitely get more as we continue doing this in the weeks to come. What did I get? Well, the Clubiona that I was so excited about was Clubiona terrestris, a male. So that's a terrestrial sac weaver. It's quite an early mature spider, at least up in this part of the world, so I'm quite excited about that. It'd be interesting to see if we get any more and other species through the course of the surveys. We also found Vulcanaria acuminata, the periscope spider, a female. The males of that species are incredible. They have a giant sort of stalk with their eyes on, so hopefully we will find some of them as we do more surveys. Entelocara erythropus, so that's the red-legged perfect head. It's fairly widespread, but perhaps not as recorded as some other species, so it's still pretty cool. Erigone dentipalpus, which is the tooth-palped money spider. They're pretty much everywhere, so that's not a big surprise, and we will find some other Erigones as we continue through this, I'm sure. And Pelacopsis paralela, which is the nose balloon head, which is a pretty cool wee spider. So, I hope you've enjoyed our garden spider survey, visit one. Thank you very much for joining me, my dudes, and we'll catch you next time.